Okay, let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode of Yap Yap Sports. Like I promised in the last video, I said I was gonna do a preseason review of week one preseason game. The Eagles versus Vikings. The Eagles lost. They got destroyed 27-7 by the Baltimore Ravens. Um all right, good. We're good. Okay, so let's start with I'm not on X. I'm not on Reddit. I don't see anything that is currently going on in terms of the conversation with the Eagles. Also, for this game in particular, I happen to live in the DMV area and I only watched the first half of the Ravens broadcast. Then on Sunday, I watched the all 22. So I don't know any of the narratives, have no idea of any agendas. I'm strictly just talking based off of what I watched in the all 22. So I want to start with offense. Number one, the offense didn't look good. And when I mean it didn't look good, I mean in terms of how it was designed and getting guys open compared to the Ravens on the other side of the field. Now, I do think this is a slight interesting conversation as the offensive coordinator for the Ravens was interviewed by the Eagles and the Eagles chose to hire Sean Mannion instead. And I feel like there's a ton of it's preseason, the offense is simplified and blah, blah, blah. I just think in terms of in context of it being preseason, if you looked, I think his last name is Boyle. If you looked at what the offensive coordinator for the Ravens did, if you watched the film, like that's a beautiful looking offense. Like how he designed that even for preseason in terms of scheming guys open, in terms of manipulating the zone to create those pockets and easy throwing windows, the checkdowns, how like that Ravens offense was beautiful and there was literally a guy pretty much wide open every play. Like so I like in terms of like saying how good the Ravens like Fagiano, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, was because in terms of his sideline, if you just watch the film, like the dude was completing everything. But I don't want that to be like, oh, this guy, this quarterback is really good, and then Tanner McKee and Andy Dalton are awful because again, turn on the tape, look at the Ravens offense, look at the play concept, the rollout, like how they're manipulating the defense, making the move side to side. Like I'm pretty sure his last name is Boyle. Like he really did, even though it's only preseason, he called like a really, really great game overall. And yeah, if he's scheming looks like that for Lamar Jackson, then the Ravens are going to be dangerous this year. I thought while we're on the Ravens, a couple of their D linemen stood out. Again, their defense was just so sound throughout the game. Um, yeah, like they like again, this is good for the Ravens. If you're a Ravens fan and you happen to tune in to check this out, yeah, you should. Again, it's preseason. What do we know? But I think in terms of how the players executed the scheme and how the scheme was designed, the Ravens killed it, and it shows in the scoreboard. But let's focus back on the Eagles. So for the Eagles, I guess let's stick to offense. Um, yeah, this offense to me, I said this in my last video, and I'm gonna stay with it. This team is going to be as good as the offensive line in the running game. If you look at this offense, there's a ton of 12 personnel, ton of condensed formations. Like it's really about you can tell while watching the Eagles, and like this may annoy people, but conceptually how they're doing things formationally is different, and even in terms of some of the route concepts, it's different, but it's still a lot of timing based comeback routes. It's still a lot of sideline throws. Again, it's hard for me to judge because like the Ravens, like all of like nothing was open over the middle. Like there was only a few throws that were open over the middle. Really, everything the Ravens were giving up or allowing were like anticipation comeback throws or anticipation out routes was like really where you had to eat. And ironically, that's where, especially with the out routes and the sideline throws, that's where Jalen Hurts is really good. And then in the comeback routes, Jalen is really good at using his mobility to manipulate the pressure so he can buy a little bit more time on those routes so he can choose the guy that happens to have a little bit more cushion, um rather than being a Tanner McKee, Andy Dalton type quarterback where they can't manipulate the pocket. And this is something I called very early on in the game, like when you were watching how the concepts, the offense was just like, like when Cole Payton comes in, he's gonna look better and the offense is gonna flow smoother because he's gonna run around and it's gonna make those zone windows like just bigger windows, right? And then he's gonna be able to complete some of the throws. I'll get to Cole Payton. Let me just stick with like the offense early on with Andy Dalton and Tanner McKee. But yeah, I just thought a lot of anticipation throws. Guys weren't really all open. It didn't look great even for preseason. And again, I know there's going to be the people, it's preseason, but it was preseason for the Ravens too, and they called a great game and they were scheming guys open all day and the quarterbacks were executing the scheme and they looked comfortable, and that's a first year coaching staff with a first year offensive coordinator, like, and guys seemed a lot more confident in what they were doing compared to Philly, right? So it's preseason for everyone. um yeah, but I don't want to be too hard on offense because I do feel like Tanner McKee and Andy Dalton were executing an offense that I think would look better with Jalen Hurts, because at the end of the day, it's about the run game and then that extra like space and gravity that's created from Jalen Hurts's rushing ability. So let's see how it looks later when you go against a worse defense. When you go against a defense that isn't so like disciplined and sound, where maybe some of those middle of the field throws are a bit open, where the zone windows aren't as tight. Pause. Then then maybe the offense will look better. But I'm not gonna be, again. I'm yapping at this point. It's Yap Yap Sports. Let me move on. Um. Okay. So defense. I think defenses were most of my impact players sort of jump out on defense, right? So defense, I think as a whole, is very hard to judge in terms of like what they are doing collectively and how the defense is playing to the fact that they gave up 27 points, right? And again, I don't think the offense was that particularly good in terms of like, I didn't check the time of possession, like I can look at that, but I imagine the defense was on the field a bit more than the offense was. But I do think most of the impact players for me were on the defensive side of the ball. One, Trot, Trot clearly jumped out throughout the first half. Like he played great. He did a lot for me. Like what I look for in a linebacker is either that you either need that field tilting, middle of the field, super athletic ability where you're just like making those middle of the field throws like a whole lot more difficult. But you also need like that block and shed, strength, power based element to your game. And to me, like Trotter, in terms of coming in and being like a light or like a 75, 80, 75% version of N'Kobe Dean, I do see it. I mean, he was executing those five-man rush sim pressures like good. Like again, it was like mostly Trot when the quarterback got rushed and did like make a bad pass that was like open because Boyle was cooking. Like it was mostly because Trot came in, did the interior blitz like N'Kobe Dean did all last year. He was like utilizing power against running backs like really like just going in there full speed, creating pressures, making it difficult for the quarterback to throw. I thought in running downs he did a really good job of like attacking his blockers, shedding, creating a tackle. Like this guy is a legit starting middle linebacker in the league, and it's great that the Eagles have him. I think again he has better intuition and instincts than a guy like Jahad Campbell, where I think Jahad Campbell is an athletic freak. And because he is an athletic freak, he's able to like be a second or two behind mentally. But again, in terms of just like natural linebacker instincts, in terms of being able to come in at times, and the Vic Fangio plans to like rotate Jihad and Trot a bit more this year, just to get Trot on the field to do more of the N'Kobe Dean type stuff. I do think Trot Jr. Is a really good player. Also on the defensive side of the ball, again, I don't want to really talk about the defense conceptually because I think that isn't really worth it. I'm just going to talk about like some of the impact guys on defense. Um to me, I thought this they signed him recently, 64, David Blay. Let's see if we can find him on this sheet. David Blay. He played for the Patriots. They signed him. Where am I at? Interceptions. Where the heck is tackling? I can't see crap. Um. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Here's time of possession. Look. See. I didn't even need to like look that up to know, but just by watching all 22, that yeah, the Eagles got completely destroyed in the time of possession battle. Like again, because at the end of the day, the offense it runs through the O line in the running game, and then everything else is like built off of that. They're not gonna have the same running game in the preseason, so I'm not gonna take it too seriously. Here, what I was looking for. Okay, so Blay, right? To me, Blay was great. Like, so Blay played better than all of their backup defensive linemen, including Ty Robinson. I thought Ty Robinson had that one good sack that I think the TV people are gonna hype up, but outside of that sack, he was kind of getting pushed around. He got ragdolled one play, and then the um roughing the passer call I felt was a little selfish too. Again, Ty Robinson is a guy where you see the spark, not the spark, but the athletic traits, the twitch, the ability to get off the line quick, be the guy for move, but he's not strong, man. He gets ragdolled. Um, but David Blay, so yeah, this one let me just go through the guys who I thought I liked and didn't like. So David Blay, I thought definitely jumped out to me. 64, a little small, but just like a very hyper active, feisty guy. Like he had good pass rushes. He like defeated some double teams at times in the run game. I thought there's a lot of times he was, how if you watch Jordan Davis in the regular season, you'll see how like Jordan like is great at just like coming from behind and cleaning up plays and like using his speed and staying in place to get tackles even after like it's like on the other side and they run down the field a little bit like 3-4 yards. He did a ton of that. Um Again, to me, if you're looking at that fourth, not fourth, that fifth D tackle spot behind I can't remember his name, the guy from they traded from the Raiders. I'm not sure if it's Gabe Hall or someone else. I get those guys mixed up, but definitely I think Blay should be in contention for that 50 tackle spot. Mondin, I thought Mondin did some things. There are times where Mondin kind of got beat up in the run game, but there's also some times where again he was doing that interior blitz thing like Dean did last year, like Trot does. And he was doing that well. There's times in coverages where he was good. Again, I think Mondin fourth for your fourth linebacker in this scheme. Again, Mondin's great too. He played a lot of snaps. Um, Wade, I thought Wade had a couple good plays when watching this defense. I didn't think a lot of the safeties and even the cornerbacks closed very well throughout the game. I thought they could have, had closed a little bit better, had some tighter coverage in the zone, and just like to me, the guys who I thought closed, even though they did get beat at times, the guys who I thought closed the best were Wade and Geshekin. Um, but no one really jumped out to me in terms of those backup DBs at all. Went over Ty Robinson, AJ Epinesa. He's small, man. Like, and I don't mean small like he's small. I mean compared to the expectation. He's light. Like AJ Epinesa is like really, really light. And for some reason, I thought he was gonna be more around the two. Like I don't even think he's 260. Like he looks 245 ish. Like he looks light, and I thought he was more so gonna be like closer to 270 and play more of a BG role where he could put his hand in the dirt and help in the run game in that way. Um, I don't see the need, to be honest with you, if he's gonna be that light. I don't know if that's a controversial take, but I would rather, again, my personal preference for the Eagles is to find a guy who is a bit heavier and can do some outside linebackery things at times. Vic isn't gonna rotate guys enough for a guy like AJ Epinesa to do what he was doing. Because you saw in coverage on the first play of the Ravens, he got beat by the tight end, right? And like again, he's a guy who he isn't like AJ Epinesa isn't versatile enough to be in coverage, to edge rush, and to also be like an edge rusher who you can kick inside on certain downs and like your NASCAR package and to help. Like he's not that guy, so I'm kind of unsure about his role currently. But I thought the rotational edge rusher guys, while I'm on that subject, were okay. Like no one like in terms of like edge rush, no one really flashed. Jose Ramirez maybe had a good rush here. Again, Ebiketie maybe had one good rush, but in terms of just like someone consistently bringing pressure, I don't think anyone really did that on the D line. I thought when it was time to like really, again, guys at times had good pressures, but to me, again, the guys who were consistently the best at like wrecking shit were Belay and Trotter. Um, personally, um, Ringo is Ringo special teamer. Michael Carter again. He like the touchdown that Lane had. If I think yeah, a better safety would have read it, saw it faster. Yeah. So there's that. So let's go back to offense. Standouts to me on offense. And this is just to finish up, I guess. And then we'll also go into the Cole Payton. The standouts to me on offense were EJ Jenkins, and that might be again, that's gonna be one that people aren't gonna really mention. But yeah, EJ Jenkins to me. Um, where is he at? EJ to me clearly was a great player because I think like I'm sorry, let me catch my bearings. I was reading stuff and trying to talk at the same time. Okay, so EJ Jenkins was just amazing as a blocker. Like he had a couple blocks where it was just like, holy shit, this dude is big and athletic. Like I don't understand why EJ Jenkins isn't the wide tight end over Johnny Munt at this point, based on how he was blocking in this game. And then he also had like a really good over the middle catch. I don't remember. I may pull up like right now. Um, I don't remember his second catch because apparently he had the 17 yarder and he had a 3 yard catch. Okay, so the 3 yard catch is probably like a check down. Okay, so the 17-yard catch, and that was a throw by Cole Payton. I honestly think that was the one of the best throws of the day. Not overall, but in terms of like the three Eagles quarterbacks who played was Cole Payton threw an anticipation comeback route to EJ Jenkins over the middle for 17 yards in the fourth quarter. And I thought like EJ Jenkins catching an anticipation throw with like again like to me I think that's a big deal. And the way he can block again I like EJ Jenkins. I thought he really jumped out to me in terms of how big he is, his size, his ability to block. And then that catch um then who jumped out to me negatively? Yeah, let's sandwich it. So positive, then negatively, I didn't like Makai Bell that much. Slow footed. He kind of looked goofy, man. Like I'm not gonna lie, he kind of looked like a big goofy dude. And like he only played 21 snaps, 22 technically, but there was like a penalty, so it didn't really count as a play. But he looked big and goofy, like guys with speed were beating him, and also like he didn't like how the again I didn't really study the Ravens defense completely in this game, but how the Ravens were playing and like Minter, like there was a lot of snaps where like he just wasn't really blocking anyone as a right tackle, even though they passed the ball. And there were like the snaps where he kind of like did block people, like they were able to beat him with speed. They were also able to beat him with power at times. Like he again, I didn't like it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I didn't like Bell at all, based on the buzz and how people were talking in training camp, and like them giving him more snaps and stuff. I thought he was better than this, but no, like he looked like a big goofy dude who at times he does win, but he wins because he's like so fucking big that it's just like it just takes too long to eventually like get through him. Even though you like beat him, he's just still like big and in front of you and like falling down halfway where it like still takes you time to just like, you know, get by him. But in terms of just like saying hike and him just like beating people, like in a run game, like him just like overpowering people and pushing them down the field. Maybe one snap he did that in the passing game in terms of just like really just like locking a guy up. Maybe one snap he did that, and then every other snaps it was like the guy kind of like overpowered him, or the guy kind of was like faster than him and beat him around the edge, but it just didn't really like turn into like a highlight he flat out got beat play that you'll see on TV. Um Eli Sowers, I think my view on Eli Sowers isn't it's kind of mid. He didn't again like to me like the Eli Sowers how he played in this game has more to do with the offense than Eli himself. I thought again because they asked Eli to block a shit ton in this game, and the opening hold that he had on the Keely Ring, not the Keely Ringo, the Big Speed run. I don't think that was a hold. I think that was a good block, and the guys sold it to make it kind of look like a hold. Maybe Eli's hands were a little bit wide and outside, but I just to me it didn't look like a hold. And they said when Eli was drafted, when Sowers was drafted, that he was a willing blocker. And if you watch this game, he fights, dude. Like he fights the whole game. He's asked to block a lot in this game. And every snap he fights and puts forth an effort. And you can see like he's light. Like he again, like he's a little maybe his frame can handle more weight, but he's light and it's gonna take a year for him to put on the weight. But in terms of like the effort, you definitely see the effort there. And in terms of his pass catching ability, like I said, I didn't view Eli as that super hip fluid guy like a Travis Kelsey and some of these other guys, but I did look at him again like a Savion Williams, Cordell Patterson. I think he's a high hip dude who, when you get him going, he does have an extra gear. And I just wish this offense would find a way to get him the ball um while he's moving linear. Um and again, that is a concern for me because I do feel again, no, they didn't ask him to do any wheel routes, right? Like, you know, the Ravens like this offense was very boring, dude. Like I didn't see anything where it was like, ooh, that was cool. It was very like play action based. Where again, I'm gonna keep saying it. The passing game wasn't cool looking at all. Like at all. It was a lot of what they did last year. I'm gonna be honest with you in terms of passing concepts. It just seemed like how they want to like formationally and like how they want to get to the run and how they want things to look. Um, Seems to be a little bit different. And again, I mentioned this also in the last video. If you saw Bretton Covey, and even Darius Cooper at times in the beginning of the game, Hollywood Brown, they got those like very easy, like we're bringing a guy on a cross block motion, release him into the flats type catches in space. Like those are the type of catches I see Makai Lemon getting, which is why I think I'm not too worried about him getting acclimated when he does come back because there are in this offense going to be some easy catches for him to get a good feel of the game. Let me see. Let me go through some of these guys. Darius Cooper. Again, Darius Cooper had a bad drop, but again, like that drop that Darius Cooper had, I think it was a Tanner McKee or Andy Dalton throw. Like let that like that was like a good window for this offense. Like that's what I'm telling. Like compare what you saw with the Ravens and how open those guys were to that Darius Cooper drop, and that was literally how tight the windows were consistently for the Eagles in this preseason game. And I do think that's an NFL catch, an NFL reaction that Darius Cooper needs to have. Um, but like let that be an example of just like how the offense did look. I thought Covey, they asked Covey to block one time and it didn't look good. Again, in that role, in that slot receiver, it's gonna be hard, man. Like it's gonna be hard formationally in what you're asking some of these receivers to do. Because again, they ask Covey to like line up in a bunch. Like I said, a lot of condensed formations to set up the run game, and they pretty much asked like Covey to be like a wing in like a blocking formation, and he just got destroyed. So I don't know what's up with Johnny Wilson. I think he's still coming back, but again, how this offense is looking, I think like a guy like Johnny Wilson could make this team still over Elijah, over the Elijah Moores, over the Burton Coveys. Calcaterra, there's one play in the first quarter. It was Andy Dalton. Calcaterra, Andy Dalton completely made the wrong read. Like completely made the wrong read. It was just like Darius Cooper ran like a not really like a slant, but like a skinny. I don't even know the right route, but like it was like a instead of like a 3 yard slant, maybe like a 5 6 yard slant, right? And Calcaterra under that ran a quick out. Both of the defenders, the safety over top and the nickel defender, went with Cooper. No one went with Calcaterra. Andy Dalton chose Cooper for some reason. It ended up an incompletion. I think this was a third down. If Andy Dalton would have pumped it to Coop, spun it out to Calcaterra, I don't think Calcaterra scores on the play, but it's an exciting, explosive play. Calcaterra probably hits the sideline for potentially a 20+ yard gain. If Calcaterra is like that in open space, he potentially scores. But yeah, I thought that was an opportunity for Calcaterra to have a big play, and Andy Dalton missed it. Ikazuma Kama, he had the touchdown. With Cole Payton. He also had a drop. I don't think he makes the team. He's also wearing an ugly number, so that does. I'm sorry, but that does taint things a bit. But I thought good touchdown. Um, Hollywood Brown. I don't know how many snaps he played. I didn't watch Hollywood Brown in the routes. Again, the Eagles offense. I didn't watch Hollywood Brown. To be honest with you. Torre was the running back, didn't jump out. Bigsby did look explosive, had a couple plays. Latu had a drop. I think he needs to make that catch if he wants to be on this team. There was a play that Stowers, similar play, opposite side of the field, like opposite side of the formation. Stowers made the catch, like Latu didn't. Like same situation, two guys around you. It's gonna be a tough catch. You're gonna get hit. Um, Stowers took the hit, made the catch. Latu didn't. So again, I'm not mad at Stowers, man. Like I like EJ Jenkins. I think Sowers is fighting. It's gonna take Sowers a year. Where are we at? Dun, dun, dun. Let's go through everybody. Let's go through the linemen. I went through Bell. I thought Majors had a couple good snaps. And then let me make sure I miss one. And then my last, let's end it on this because I do listen to the Inside the Birds podcast. I haven't listened to them yet, but they said there's a big Willie Lampkin contingent. Like people love Willie Lampkin, and I did listen to some of the PFF guys, Travis Sycamore. Not they're not on PFF, the NFL Stock Exchange guys. Willie Lampkin is that. Willie Lampkin is fun to watch. He's fucking fun to watch, and he was my standout on the offensive line. So if I had to let me go through my standout, if I had to pick a standout at every position group, let's do this and then through that. So linebacker, obviously, I think Mondin played well. 47 had some good snaps, but clearly the standout at linebacker to me was Trotter and everything he did, blocking, shedding, blitzing. Like again, not a lot of coverage snaps. Not a lot of coverage snaps, but in what he did in the run game and then in pass game, coming up and blitzing and bringing that extra pressure. Trotter had a great game. On D line, again, I would say Blay had a great game, some pass rush, some good wins, a lot of effort. Great fighter. I thought he was the best backup D lineman, best backup edge. None of the edges really, really stuck out to me. So I'm going to pass on naming a standout edge. Standout cornerbacks, I'm gonna pass. Standout safeties, I'm also gonna pass. No one, I don't think anyone in those position groups. And again, to me, I only watched the game like 3 times, and then I went through a handful of players who I thought were interesting, and I didn't choose any safeties or cornerbacks to go back and rewatch like individually. So that's why I don't have any names. Same with the edge rushers. Wide receivers who stuck out to me, none really. Again, that has mostly to do because I don't think the offense really looked that well. Tight end, again, I thought EJ Jenkins blocked really well. He did good. And I also thought, again, that pass Cole Payton had to him, the anticipation throw, was really good for EJ to catch that ball. And I thought Eli Stowers fought. And again, if Andy Dalton hits Calcaterra on the out route, he probably has an explosive, and that justifies why people or why Howie likes Calcaterra because he is a guy who is a good receiving threat, and he can generate explosives if you give him the ball in the open space. Then, in terms of O line, the guy who stuck out to me is Willie Lampkin. This dude was fun to watch, dude. The wrestling background you can really see. He was looking to fight in open space every chance he got. He had some good run blocks where he was tough and just beating guys up at the point. In open space, he was going downfield and kind of looking to suplex guys, like, and he was fighting guys and fight. I really like Willie Lampkins as a dude. I don't know how good he can become in terms of a starter in this league, but like, dude, I'm confident with him as like, again, it seems like they really like Drew Kendall. I'm not. I didn't watch Drew Kendall this game particularly, but he didn't like jump out to me. If he did play, but I thought Willie Lampkin was a real fun watch. Majors, the center, I thought had a couple good blocks. Um, and had some good plays, but then when he went against like Obajaya, I thought, or number 9, number 6, a big interior nose tackle, he just kind of got engulfed at times. And then the quarterbacks, Cole Payton. I thought Cole Payton looked bad. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, again, the casuals, the people who watch the TV copy might think, oh, he scored. He looked bad, and like this is why like rush like people underrate mobility and rushing um to a high degree because in terms of passing he didn't look that great. I also thought like when he was on the field the defense was a lot more open. There were a bit more gaps. There were some more wide open guys. So I thought there was a second down where there was a crosser, a shallow route that went across the middle. I'm not sure exactly who was running that route. Wide open. Wide the fuck open, second down, throw the ball. He gets 5, 6 yards. Maybe he turns up the field. It makes third down easier. Cole Payton doesn't throw it, doesn't even look at it. He kind of like, again, there's a point where Cole Payton kind of started to premeditate that he was going to just run with the football. Um, and that was worrisome. But again, when he did run with the football, you saw how it opened things up. And again, this isn't like Jalen Hurts hate this comment, but it's just why it annoys me at times when fans just see a quarterback run down the field for a big gain and be like, oh my god, he's amazing, he's good. I understand. Again, ironically, it did lead to points when the passing didn't lead to points, but the passing for guys like Andy Dalton and Tanner McKee, there weren't a lot of guys open. By the time Cole Payton got on the field, there were some guys open. Okay, and he chose to run. Context matters. Context matters. But when Cole Payton did run, he did look good. He did look athletic. Again, when he did start to just say "fuck it, I'm running," then he kind of said, "Okay, now I'm able to manipulate the defense more." I mean, he was able to kind of like by running the ball adjust to the speed of the game a bit more. He did become a little bit more comfortable as a passer, and that's when you did start to see some good throws, the anticipation throw to EJ Jenkins, the patience. He didn't push downfield in that red zone situation. You know, he went to the sideline. There were some guys maybe potentially open a little bit earlier, but he waited, found the throw he was comfortable with. And I do actually think that was like a solidly, like decent layered throw to again, I'm not gonna pronounce his name right, but as Ekazuma, whatever. I'm sorry, my fault. But Ekazanam, whatever. I do think that was like a solidly like layered throw, so I'm gonna give credit for that. But yeah, that's my breakdown of this preseason game for Yap Yap Sports, man. Like, there were again the guys who jumped out. I mentioned again. I don't know, whatever you want to say. Like, I mean, like whatever the agendas are, whatever people are saying, whatever the context and the situation, and well, it's this for this and it's that for that, and it's only preseason, blah blah blah. I think like the scheme of the Ravens offense again, based on was like really good. Like I would, if you enjoy watching football, I would go watch it because dudes were open, and I do think homeboy the what 28-1 interception ratio guy did make some good throws for the Ravens across the middle, and like in some like not like tight windows. Like I wouldn't call them tight windows, but I would call them like I would even say like I would call them like NFL game manager level throws. I thought he consistently made those type of throws and he was poised. But again, I don't know. I don't know. Like I thought again at the end of the day it's preseason. So what really can we take away from this game? What I would take away from this game is that this offense is based off the run game. And like Jalen Hurts being a mobile quarterback and Jalen Hurts' ability to like throw more towards the sidelines. I don't again, we can't really judge this offense without the starters playing, but I wasn't impressed conceptually. Like I'm impressed by the Ravens. I thought in terms of the rookie class, I didn't I mentioned Ty Robinson. Not impressed by Ty Robinson. Again, in terms of guys who I would say like who's budding and like of these preseason guys, I mean, who could be some guys that could create some impact in the regular season? And I would say Trot for sure, like made it known. And I really think EJ Jenkins should get a shot to make this team. Like I really think EJ Jenkins deserves a shot to make this team. Um, that would be my opinion on this. Uh, yeah, EJ Jenkins really needs to deserve it, make this team, and I don't think there's any point in keeping Bretton Covey and Elijah Moore. And Elijah Moore didn't play much. Or did he? I don't know. I didn't check down, so I'm just yapping at this point. But I would hope Johnny, based on how this offense looks, you need because to get Johnny Wilson on the field. Because if you look at like a team like the Ravens, not the Ravens, the Rams, Winnington, their wide receiver, I think his number's like maybe is 13 or 86. But like the Eagles, like based on this scheme that the Eagles running, they really need like more big body wide receivers who are gonna block, who are gonna do some hybrid tight end stuff. Um, yeah, and that's it. Okay, I can yap yap forever because this is Yap Yap Sports. Um, but that's all I have. That's all I have. I think we're done. I don't know how long this video is. There's no timer in front of me, so hopefully it's good. Oh, it's 40 minutes. Okay, so that's a good 40-minute review of the Eagles versus Ravens preseason game. Next week they play the. I have. Let's see this. Let's look this up in front of each other. Next week they play. Oh, they have the Patriots because they do have joint practices. Oh, and that's gonna be fun. I actually may listen to a couple brain rot podcasts over the middle of the week because that's gonna be a bunch of bullshit. But let's see how next week plays out. So this is Yap Yap Sports. Have a good one, guys. Tune in next week for another preseason breakdown and review. I'll see ya.